To place plants in the drawing, click the Libraries tab and choose Plants. Plants are organized into categories, some with subcategories. Just click to see the preview of the plants. There's even a category for containers and potted plants. We'll look at the ornamental grass that's available. Scroll down, look for the plant. You'll see tooltips appear that describe the plant. When you find the right plant, just drag and drop. So drag the plant with your left mouse button down into the 2D plan and release to place it. Select the plant, drag it with your mouse and cursor, or use the arrow keys on your keyboard to nudge it in one direction or another. Now we'll delete that plant. While that plant is selected, right-click on the perimeter of the bed. Choose Plant Fill, select Perimeter, and define the plant spacing for these plants that are going to go around the perimeter, and click OK. It will create a perimeter based on the spacing of that plant around the entire bed. And we'll just delete these plants that are on the back side of the bed next to the wall. You can also select any of the plants or groups of the plants that were placed around the perimeter and move them. Now, position the cursor where you can left-click and drag around the plants to select them. When you select plants, the entire plant needs to be inside the window to select it. Press and hold the Shift key to add a plant to the selection set if needed. Then use your arrow keys to nudge those back into the bed a little bit so that when you use the Grow feature, you'll see the plants grow and they're all within the bounds of our bed. The Grow feature allows you to see how the landscape will look over time. Now we'll delete the plants and we will go back to the plant library and find a different shrub to use in our bed. So from the drop-down, we'll select the shrub library. Find a shrub that we like, place one. This time, we've dropped the plant right into the 3D view. But we could also place a row evenly spaced apart using the visual array. You can define either the place between the plants or the center to center distance, which is basically where you're going to be digging the holes to plant them. Press Enter after you plug in the right number that you want. Left-click, drag out, and you'll see it placing them. Release to actually place them in the drawing. While selected, use your arrow keys or drag to reposition the plants. And now you're free to use the Grow feature so that you can see how those shrubs will look over time. We'll go back to our plant library. Of course, you'll want more plants than just a single type in the bed. So we'll select Annuals. Again, the tooltips appear. We'll select these impatiens and drag and drop into the plan or into the 3D view. As we start to accumulate plants in our design, it will get harder to tell the different types of plants apart in the 2D view because the plant symbols look the same. To help differentiate the plants in 2D, you can change the plant symbols. Just select a plant and on the Properties tab, choose the symbol you want. You can select multiple plants at once by holding the Shift key as you click and then choose a symbol to apply to all of them at once. And this affects only the 2D view. You can also edit the size of the plant by selecting Use Custom Sizing and typing the size you want. Be sure to press the Enter key to accept the new values. And the sizing affects the plant in both 2D and 3D. You can create custom plant symbols using the 2D drawing tools. We'll draw a shape here. Notice we drew this shape using different line styles and a couple of fill patterns. When we save this to our Plant Symbols user library, the customizations are not retained. Just the basic shapes are saved. And once you have the shape you want, select it and then go to the Plants library. At the bottom of the Categories drop-down menu, click the gear and choose Create Plant Symbol. If you haven't created a user library category yet, you can do that now by clicking New. Add a name and a description if you'd like. This saves the shape to the Plant Symbols user library so you can use it in your designs. And now, back in our design, we'll add a few more plants. We'll select these plants and apply the custom symbol to them. Navigate to the Plant Symbols user library and select the symbol we just created. The plants are updated in 2D, and still, this has no effect on the 3D view. And if we zoom in, we can actually see clearly the detail of that plant symbol. You can also find plants in different ways rather than just searching through individual libraries one at a time. We'll go back to the categories, and at the bottom of the window, there's a search field. We'll type in hosta, and it will look through all the libraries and display thumbnails for all of the hostas that are available throughout all of the libraries. We can also go to the plant finder that allows you to set the criteria for the hardiness zones, sunlight requirements, water requirements. Now we'll switch to our tree library and let's change our view. We'll zoom out just a bit and move into the front yard. Find a tree. Again, tooltips appear over the thumbnails as well as down in the status bar. Find a tree, drag and drop that into the 2D plan just like the other plants. The Grow feature grows the shrubs and the tree. Notice the shrubs quit growing. That's because they reach their maximum size. Now, along with the Grow feature, you can select an individual plant, and on the Properties tab, change the age planted, and that accelerates the growth of the tree because it was bigger when you put it in. So you're growing from a larger size to start with. Now we'll render it so that you can see that the sunlight will actually render from the trees, and that helps you when you're planting shade gardens and what part of the landscape needs full sun.